So, looking at my channel, been a few months since I did a main video. Not very YouTuber of me now, is it? Right, I need to think big. I need to spin that complain wheel. I'm certain there must be a video that could work from this. Okay, spin number 1. Yeah, well, interesting. I don't think I can make a full video out of that one. Spin 2 time. Now that is a topic for another day. Come on, lucky spin 3. I think I can make that work. Now that our boy Ash is free from the shackles of the floating timeline, which unfortunately is a big rip to all of our childhoods, I think it's time to look back on the history of the Pokémon anime, and Ash's adventures as a 10-year-old across a 26-year span. Pokémon has gone on to be the most successful media franchise of all time, and that is a title that's rightfully earned. But just like how the games had quite a lot of mistakes, the show itself comfortably got a lot of things wrong as well, especially early on. It's time to take a trip back to the 90s to find the issues with the Pokémon anime, starting with Season 1. Okay, so the first major issue that Pokémon has is the complete nonsensical way that Ash wins, and also sometimes loses, in all the major fights in the Indigo League. Now I'm sure at this point everyone's aware of the aim of a trainer. Get your 8 badges, destroy the league, become the champion. To obtain these gym badges, you have to beat the gym leaders there. Or do you? Because if the Indigo League is anything to go off, at some points you can just exist, or even commit crimes in order to obtain them. Let's look at the weird and peculiar ways that Ash wins some of these gym badges. We'll start going step by step with every single one. Okay, so gym 1 is against Brock. Ash loses his first battle, and naturally so because his starter is an electric type Pokemon against a ground type. And we all know that it's not effective, right? Well, Ash supercharges his Pikachu. And in the following battle, his Pikachu does Thunderbolt damage towards his Onix, which of course should not affect it in the slightest. In the ensuing struggle, sprinklers are set off which completely weaken Onix. But Ash gives up to win fair and square. So for his act of kindness, Brock goes, have a badge. So on our initial gym badge, we found out that kindness is enough to obtain one, and we haven't even moved on to the second one yet. We are in for a long ride, everybody. I hope you have your popcorn. Now, Gym 2 is against Mister. This battle is interrupted by Team Rocket. After defeating them, Mister's sisters just give him a badge for getting rid of Team Rocket. I'm just thinking of that Oprah Winfrey meme where it's like, you get one, you get one, you get one. Because so far, we're 2 gyms in, and Ash has just been giving them off kindness. Now, Gym 3 is against Surge. And Lieutenant Surge does have the fully evolved form of Pikachu. So, of course, Pikachu loses to Raichu. That's 2 losses by Gym 3, by the way. Now, Pikachu gets given the option to evolve into a Raichu and rejects it. He then beats it after dodging Body Slam, which just for this gym battle alone does recoil damage, and also using Agility. Yeah, sure. Truth be told, I think this one is definitely just mascot tax. Raichu has pretty much not been the same ever since this day. Even with a Regent variant, it's never recovered. And I do personally feel like this was an attempt to show, hey look, Pikachu's really strong. Because at the end of the day, it is the mascot and it has an evolved form. Now, Gym 4, once again, Ash loses. That's 3 losses into his 4th gym. I know I'm taking the mick out of it, by the way, because at the end of the day, he is supposed to be a developing trainer. But this guy is a walking L magnet. Now, after he'd lost to Sabrina, Ash ends up becoming friends with a Haunter. This is to help him tackle Sabrina, but the Haunter just abandons him. It then comes back, pulls faces, makes Sabrina laugh, and then he just gets a badge. Every single stand-up comedian that you know must collectively have a minimum a Marsh badge, even if they're the worst trainer possible. This is definitely the most egregious of the ones where he just gets given it. What's even more ridiculous about it is that it's not because Ash was funny, it's because a random Pokemon that he met just for this particular plot point is funny. And it has completely nothing to do with his battling ability. It's honestly just tragic. Gym 5 has Ash about to lose again. Team Rocket appear. Ash saves a Gloom from a burning building. And then afterwards, Erica just gives him a badge. We are 5 badges in, people. And he only has 1 through legitimate means. And even then, even though he's won 1, let's be real, without the mascot tax, he would have been smacked in that one as well. I know I'm mocking the fact that he keeps getting beat, because at the end of the day, he is supposed to be a developing trainer. Especially when you're starting out, there's going to be a lot of mistakes. But the fact that he's not even winning any of these by merit, I feel gives me a pass to take the mick out of the fact he constantly takes L's. Gym 6 against Koga is also interrupted by Team Rocket, but Misty's Psyduck is on hand to help dispatch of all of them, allowing Ash to actually obtain a badge. Granted with the help of someone else's Pokemon, but shock and horror, he actually has a badge. Gym 7 has Ash forfeit, so yet another L to his name. I'm certain the only thing that takes more of an L than Ash is the sports teams that I support. In the rematch, Ash wins thanks to his Charizard, who only obeys Ash in this particular fight for his own benefit. Gym 8 has Ash commit Grand Theft Auto, and steals a badge from a crime scene, in a turn that actually coincided with Pokemon's TV rating changing to rated 18, or rated R, whatever your version is. Okay, no, but seriously, as the 8th gym is run by Giovanni, it's naturally in control of Team Rocket, who once again blow up another gym on this run, just like with Erica, and the Earth badge just arrives in his hands. Despite beating no trainer or Pokemon, declares himself to have won the 8th badge. So in conclusion, he beats Lieutenant Surge with the mascot tax, Koga thanks to Misty's Psyduck, Blaine thanks to his Charizard conveniently deciding he wants to be a professional fighter now, making for a total of 3 actual victories out of 8. He obtains 5 through being kind, helpful, and just blatantly robbing one from a crime scene. Now I'm pretty certain I did not win any of my badges in this way in the games. It's almost comical. And also, to further reflect on this point, it's not even touching on his eventual loss to Richer, where his Charizard, ironically by the way, decides now he doesn't have any competitive streak, so Ash is just handed a loss at the Indigo League. It really doesn't do wonders for the character building in my opinion. The idea of him losing and then coming back up again with more strategies to be able to win, it's a great concept. He's not just Goku who wins pretty much every fight, or Yugi who wins nearly every duel. He's just learning the ropes now. But instead, they just give him all the badges. Now, especially early on, Pokemon traditionally focused on the advertisement of as many different Pokemon as possible. Think of how Tentacruel gets his own episode, Porygon got his own episode which unfortunately got blocked, so on and so forth. So you could argue the way that he wins gym badges isn't really the main focus. It's about catching them all, seeing them all, and that's almost like a byproduct. But every time he went for a badge and he basically got hand-me-down, it's really a poor reflection of the anime early on. Now, moving on from the sheer dumbing down of Ash as a trainer, it's time to talk about the dreaded company. The one that came down and tried to take everything in one piece. Now, 4Kids are very infamous for its days of dubbing back in the 90s and 2000s. From the blatant disrespect towards One Piece as a series to the severe butchering of concepts and elements within an anime, Pokemon was one of many that was hit by 4Kids decisions. Now, I would happily sit there and just criticise 4Kids for the ridiculous decisions, such as a character eating a rice ball and it being referred to as a jelly donut. I do want to point out that there's a difference in culture in both Western audience and Japanese audience. Through social media and the internet, anime has become so widely consumed and easy to access. It's definitely outcreated the ability to understand the culture a bit better. But back in the day, what could be seen as acceptable for an audience age in Japan could easily differ than in the West. As such, decisions were made to remove some episodes from circulation due to sensitivity issues, or opinions that something may not go down well with an audience. I don't dub nor do I make any of these decisions, so I won't say whether it was right or wrong to remove an episode of Pokemon from circulation because there was a gun in the episode. At the end of the day, I'm not making a judgment call on what's going to affect the series or company going forward. Some decisions are made on what's found offensive or what's appropriate, or delays to an episode due to literally causing seizures. I can't agree nor disagree with any of these. What I can complain about, however, is the inability to explain continuity errors. This includes things such as Ash having 30 Tauros randomly because in the episode it featured a gun. There's also multiple instances of jumping back and forth because obviously things were moved out of circulation after Electric Soldier Porygon. Something that's very important to remember, episodes will have aired week by week, and there wasn't a wide range of access to the internet back in the day, whereas now every kid generally has some form of access. So the only way to remember what was going on was remembering what happened the previous week. It wouldn't do me good if one week I saw Gohan turning into Super Saiyan 2 against Cell, and then the week after Gohan is unable to use one of his arms. It's clear something's being missed, and understandably it would be important to explain what has, and unfortunately they didn't. Okay, now we've moved on to what I'm going to call the nitpicky section. I'm going to fire up a few opinions that I feel warrants mentioning, and if I do end up doing future parts of this, will probably appear again. I actually debated on step by step each episode going through these, but honestly some of them happen so frequently, I would be here for a very long time. And while YouTube might like that, I don't think everyone else will. Okay, so issues include moves that don't actually exist in the game or series, but have been created in order to provide some sort of advantage, like a Deus Ex Machina, or a trump card to help in a difficult situation to get them out of. Moves under this umbrella include Rocket Punch for Pikachu, which is a thunder-based punching move, or Gust Counterattack, which is a Gust variant for Pidgeotto. I'm going to point this out now, but this isn't the worst version of this happening within the Pokemon anime. I assure you there is one way worse. And trust me, we're gonna get to that when the time comes. Stay on this topic of moves, another is Pokemon learning moves they can't learn in the actual games. Some of these boil down to translation errors such as Starmie using Bubble instead of Bubble Beam, to some flat out cheating when Raticate learned a move that's exclusive to Hitmonlee. It's honestly no wonder Ash traded for it. I would have traded for a Pokemon that was used with an action replay, or a Game Shark, or whatever version of cheating we're using back on the original Game Boy. We have quite a few times where a Pokemon is referred to incorrectly. Probably the most infamous of this is when Officer Jenny uses Arcanine, already aforementioned in Ash's battle with Brock, but the concept of Pokemon being hit by moves they shouldn't is quite grating, and this isn't an isolated occurrence. Sandshrew is somehow able to hit a ground type move on a Butterfree, which is flying type so should be immune to any ground type attack. The series suffers a lot of graphical continuity errors that are very common. It's easier to explain just with a photo. Bulbapedia tends to list all the errors within a Pokemon episode. This is an error list which is mostly graphical issues or continuity errors, just in one episode alone. This includes things like missing gloves, wrong colours on clothes, so on and so forth. For reference, this is episode 10, which involves Ash getting his Bulbasaur. And finally, we have the very confusing distances. In the first episode, Ash borrows Misty's bike during the daylight after she implies there's a Pokemon Center just down the road. We then end up basically at night time, which means that the distance is very far. This essentially implies that the distance from Pallet Town to Viridian City, which is the shortest route in the entire game, is long enough to take nearly an entire day. So to get from Pallet Town to Viridian City, it's taken a whole episode. But by episode 14, he has his third badge. That means he's gone to 3 more cities and got 3 badges in that time. This includes episodes where he's lost battles as well. Yet he doesn't get his 8th badge until episode 63. What is the actual distance of these towns? Flipping heck, that was a lot of information. And a lot of problems just in the Indigo League alone. I appreciate everyone sitting through me ramble about the Pokemon anime series from season 1 onwards. It is very tempting to do the rest of the series, so I might maybe tackle that problem as well. Make sure to hit that like button as it really helps out my channel, and hit that subscribe button to know when I'm uploading next. I took a little break from YouTube recently, but I'm hoping now that I can get back into regularly uploading. I upload on both YouTube and TikTok, and make sure to follow me on Twitter as well. Make sure to comment down below what you think the biggest error is in Pokemon's anime.